How's it going, guys? Dan Pagella here, and thanks for checking out Micro BJJ. Over the course of the next whole bunch of weeks, we're going to go over all sorts of awesome stuff, specifically for the Little Man Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game. Everything from techniques, strategies, to the statistics, and the actual empirical differences between the Little Man game and the bigger guy Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game, and why those things are. Interviews with the best guys in the world, all kinds of cool stuff. But I sort of had in my mind, what one little technique tidbit could I share right off the bat that would be cool, that would be fun, that people could learn a lot from, learn most from. And to me, the first thing that came to mind was what in my mind is the single most important sweep for the little guy Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu player to be paying attention to right now. This is a sweep that, in my mind, is super important for two reasons. A, a great percentage of the top tier little guy Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu players are starting to get more and more into this particular game, developing it more and more thoroughly, making it more and more complex. And reason number two, you're going to run into the sweep one way or another, whether you start to get into this game and start developing and using it because it seems super effective for little guys, or if other people catch on, which they are in growing numbers at all weight classes actually, but I think it's especially effective for us, you're going to deal with it in terms of defense, in terms of having to handle this particular situation. And in my mind, I kind of wanted to get ahead on that trend and spread this stuff quick and go over a couple concepts from some of the better guys who use this technique. So there's all kinds of guys who are using this with extreme proficiency, Caio Terra, Cobrinha, but today I'm going to go over a couple variations in the offensive realm, particularly from the guy who's best known for using this, which is Rafael Mendes. Rafael Mendes, Otto's team, they're kind of known for developing this guard and further refining this guard. I'm sure there's a lot of people that have contributed to it. They're really known as the pioneers of using it effectively, this and the 50-50 in a lot of respects. So I'm going to go over a couple variations that Rafael Mendes has used against top-tier opponents and everything from the Abu Dhabis, the Mundials, etc., etc. And hopefully this is some cool stuff you guys can grab right now and be able to use. So we're going to go and get into some good detail. We'll start off with my partner here, Nate. He's going to be standing up. All right. So Nate's here standing up. There's a number of ways I can enter into this position. So this is the reverse De La Riva guard. Some people call it like the inside or the inverse De La Riva guard, but I think technically it's actually just called the reverse De La Riva guard. So I'm going to have Nate standing a little bit oriented this way. Sometimes, especially in the gi, a lot of the time, guys will sort of just have this pant grip or cupping grip on the ankle. They'll have a foot up on the hip here, and people will spin into this orientation this way. Other times, guys will just be kind of on the outside. They'll snap at the knee and just rotate right into it right off the bat. We're just going to rotate into it right off the bat just for simplifying the entry. So what I'm going to do from here, and this works gi or no gi, is I'm going to grab the outside of Nate's knee. I'm going to make sure his foot is between my feet here. I'm going to grab the outside of Nate's knee as I slide in. So we're here, we're playing the game. I slide in, I grab the outside of Nate's knee. Now my inside foot is going to drive through, and my hand on that same side, so this is my left leg, my left hand is going to fan under at the same time and go in front of his shin. It's going to enter in front of his shin. So here, I slide forward, boom, and this hand goes under the shin. So now what I want is I want this bite where my bicep is clamping this way, and my leg is clamping this way. Makes for a very, very strong bite, and just by virtue of having this bite, as I lift my hand towards my head and I extend my leg, that by itself will rotate my body. In addition to me being able to use the momentum of me sliding forward here. So as I slide forward, I quickly cup the outside of the knee. I use this almost like a Tarzan swing, and I swing in, and that starts the rotation of my shoulders. So I don't want my shoulders to hit the ground here. I'm going to be like this, and this is kind of, I'm going to get squashed. It's going to be frustrating. I'm not necessarily Captain Flexible, so it's not what I want to do. This move itself doesn't really involve that much flexibility if you know how to pull it off. So as I'm here, I slide in. This brings me towards him like a grappling hook, and it also swings me underneath him. Boom, and I get this bite, and I start to go underneath. So we'll look at it from this angle as well, the same entry here. So Nate's got his front leg forward. I grab, so my first hand slides in from the outside. Generally, I'm not going to slide in towards Nate, have his feet between my legs, and then go, reverse De La Riva time, boom, and then set into it. It's not really going to work out that way. I'm going to have to be here in a range where he can't really mess with me, I can't really mess with him. I come and snap. And as I come in and snap, this hand grabs the outside of the knee, boom, my arm goes underneath, I rotate myself underneath him. I can rotate back if need be. The way I'm going to enter initially is a method that a lot of guys are using I think it really started to stand out when Rafael Mendes used it to beat Cobrinha in the finals of the Abu Dhabi in 2009. This is kind of the initial variation that he was going for from what it looked like. It wasn't in his mind, but from what it looked like, this is the initial variation he was going for. Here, slap. As I slide in, my right knee now is going to enter behind Nate's knee, and I'm going to slide myself through so my feet aren't exposed. So I almost do this kind of a typewriter thing where I slide on my shoulders. I bump myself behind him. Once I'm here now, there's a number of ways I can take advantage of this position, one of which I'm going to use, so his shins are in my biceps. I'm going to drive my knees up and forward, knocking him down. He's on both knees now, because look, I can drive behind this knee with my shin. I can drive behind this knee with the back of my leg. If Nate stays up in his base, go ahead. If we're here, he stays up in his base. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to release my left hand, so the one with the back of my knee touching the back of his knee. I'm going to release that hand, grab his hip. My right foot, which is kind of between his legs, is either going to slip out right behind him, or if it's stuck in there, I'm going to chop his leg out on the way up, cup his other hip, climb the upper body, start to tilt, and work for my chokes and do jiu-jitsu to him. As Nate's back up, we'll go over this first variation one more time. So I'm here. Again, I'm on the outside, playing games. Up top, I slide in. I kind of get that little typewriter effect. I slip behind him. Drive him forward immediately, cup the hip, and now it's my job to climb this ladder. So I come to the hip, I cut this leg out, this hip, left hook sinks, left arm goes right to the neck. So if I do this kind of clumsily, I'm going to be like, all right, and then I get his back. But there's just way too much space, especially little guys, there's going to be way too much squirreliness. I really need some firm anchor points to be able to make sure I can get my chest from here to here. So as I'm in this position, I release with my left hand, I cup this hip, my shoulder and my hand are kind of biting together. I cut up my right leg, capture this hip. Immediately, as I'm coming up to here, my left hook is sinking. So 1 and 2, capture, left hook is sinking, left arm enters at the neck. I can kind of get that sort of Marcelo Garcia grip right here, grab with my underhooking side hand and start to tilt him. I can start going right for the choke, I can throw my second hook, whatever game I want to play. Either way, hopefully, if I play it right, I'm on his back. Next, I'm here with Nate. Let's say, for some reason, and again, this is again primarily inspired from the match between Rafa and Cobrinha. I think this is a really, really good example of using this in kind of like a new and innovative way. If, for some reason, I can't enter this knee through, maybe he blocks, he brings my leg to the outside. Now I need to come up with another variation to be able to play this guard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide behind him again, and I'm going to use my left shin in the back of Nate's right knee, here. Aiming to point my shin forward, almost like a calf crank kind of an orientation. I'm here, I chop through, I drive forward. Notice I'm still underneath this foot, I'm still underneath his other leg here. With my hand on the back of his knee, and his foot is up on my shoulder. Like this. Now what I need to do is, if I just drive forward, I'm actually caught here. I can't really take his back because I'm stuck in this orientation. If I can get a tap, great, but I'm not going to get it from here. I'm going to have to switch this up, and generally speaking, that's not going to be my top priority. I'm going to be looking for position. So as I'm in this spot, or toe hold or something like that. So as I'm in this spot, what I'm going to do now is, I'm holding onto the foot, I'm going to slide my hip back, which will make his foot drop, and this will free up my hip. For now, I can't get my hip over. So when I'm here, I slide, so I'll cup at his hip, I slide my hip back, and now as my hip comes back into place, hook. At the hip on the other side of my left arm, here, now we're in the same game. Bang, Marcelo Garcia grip. I can start going into my variations from there. So one more time, here with Nathan. We're playing games. Bang, he blocks his foot for whatever reason. We're trying to enter, I can't. Bang, I stop here, driving forward. Angling this shin into the back of his knee. I don't want to be using the back of my leg here. I don't want to be here either, if I can help it. I'd like to be here. Cup the hip. This is an anchor point. Now I can pull my hips away without him really being able to get away. Maintaining this space. Hook. Come up on top. Make sure my chest doesn't slide any higher than it needs to. Work my tilts, work my chokes. Now from there, as important as it is, in my mind, to start to understand the offensive side of this technique, the reverse de la Riva, I think it's also very important to start to understand the defense. Again, because as a little guy, this being a growing trend, a lot of the best guys in the world using it, it's sort of being on the cutting edge and on the verge of becoming very, very, very popular, even at like the blue belt level. I think it's important to understand how to prevent it and how to defend it. So next, we're going to get into that.